Shocking. Your soulmate was in tears today, you won't believe why. Don't scroll, listen to this, because the fact that you're here right now is not an accident, and your heart needs this right now more than you know, so take a breath and stay with me, because this message is for you and it's arriving at a moment when the universe is lining things up quietly but powerfully. Somewhere today, not yesterday, not someday, but today, the person your soul is connected to reached a breaking point they didn't see coming, and they broke down in tears when they were alone, when no one was watching, when the truth finally caught up to them. And listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. Those tears weren't about weakness, they were about awakening. They were triggered by a realization that hit them suddenly and deeply, a realization that they have been carrying your energy with them this whole time, that no matter how busy they stayed or how much they tried to distract themselves, you never left their spirit, and that truth overwhelmed them in a way they could no longer control. Don't scroll, stay here, because the reason this matters is that you may have felt something shift today too, a heaviness in your chest, a wave of emotion that didn't make sense, a sudden memory of them out of nowhere, and this message is for you because that wasn't random, it was resonance. Your soulmate's tears were born from regret and clarity colliding at the same time, from seeing patterns they ignored before, from realizing moments they mishandled, words they held back, and chances they didn't take because fear felt safer than honesty. And listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. They weren't crying because they lost you, they were crying because they finally understood what you truly meant to them. This understanding didn't come gently, it came like a wave, triggered by something small, maybe a song, a place, a number on a clock, maybe 11:11 or 2:22 flashing when your name crossed their mind, and suddenly everything made sense, the universe connecting dots they had avoided connecting themselves. Don't scroll, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now. Those angel numbers you've been seeing lately weren't just for you, they were appearing for them too, signaling alignment, signaling truth, signaling that a cycle of denial is ending. When they cried today, it wasn't just sadness, it was release, the kind that comes when a soul stops lying to itself, when defenses finally drop and the heart speaks louder than the ego ever could. They sat there realizing that the love they felt for you wasn't convenient, wasn't easy, and wasn't something they could replace, and that realization shook them to their core. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. They have been replaying moments with you, conversations, laughter, the way you understood them without them having to explain themselves, and those memories didn't hurt because they were gone, they hurt because they were real. Don't scroll, because this is where the message deepens. The tears came from recognizing that they've been standing at a crossroads for a while now, between staying comfortable and stepping into truth, and today the weight of staying silent became heavier than the fear of change. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because even if you haven't heard from them, even if things feel quiet on the surface, something loud has happened beneath it, something that cannot be undone. The universe often moves like this, quietly preparing the heart before moving the story forward, and your soulmate's tears were part of that preparation, part of the spiritual recalibration that happens before alignment becomes visible. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. They have been questioning themselves, asking why they felt drawn to you in ways they couldn't explain, why no one else felt the same, why your absence felt louder than anyone else's presence, and today those questions finally answered themselves. Don't scroll, stay present, because the reason this feels personal is because it is. Your soul is connected to this moment whether you see it or not. When they cried, they weren't just mourning what could have been, they were acknowledging what still is, a bond that hasn't faded, a connection that time and distance couldn't dissolve. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. The universe doesn't stir emotions like this without purpose, and tears like these are often the sign that someone is waking up to their own truth. They felt shame for not stepping up sooner, gratitude for having met you at all, and fear of what it would mean to be honest now, and all of that emotion poured out at once. Don't scroll, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now. The spiritual realm often sends confirmation through emotion before action, through feeling before movement, and today was a feeling-heavy day for a reason. You may notice over the next hours or days that your intuition feels sharper, that signs appear more frequently, that numbers repeat, that dreams feel more vivid, because once one soul opens, the connection vibrates differently. Listen to this, because your heart needs this right now. This is not about rushing, chasing, or forcing anything. It's about understanding that something significant has shifted, and the universe is making sure you're aware of it. Those tears were a turning point, a moment where denial lost its grip and truth took its place, and even if nothing changes immediately on the outside, everything has already changed on the inside. Don't scroll, stay grounded in this knowing, because you were never imagining the connection, you were sensing it, and today the other side finally felt it fully too. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because love that brings someone to tears is not shallow, it's transformative, and the universe doesn't reveal this kind of truth unless it's preparing both hearts for what comes next. Stay open, stay calm, stay aligned, because the story isn't finished, and what was released today is making space for something honest, something real, and something that can no longer be ignored. There is a divine layer to what happened today that goes far beyond emotion, because those tears were not only human, they were spiritual, the kind that surface when the soul finally aligns with truth after resisting it for too long, and this is where the universe steps in quietly but deliberately. Your soulmate didn't just cry because they missed you, they cried because something sacred was activated, something that had been waiting patiently for the right moment to rise, and that moment arrived through divine timing, not force. The spiritual realm has been working around this connection for a long time, placing gentle nudges, subtle signs, and repeated opportunities for awareness. And today was the moment when all of that alignment reached their heart at once. Divine energy often moves this way, not with noise, but with depth, reaching someone when they are alone enough, quiet enough, and emotionally open enough to receive it. Your soulmate felt that presence today, a sense of being seen by something greater than themselves, and that awareness broke them open. They realized that the connection they share with you was never just emotional or circumstantial, it was guided, protected, and intentional, woven into their life path in ways they are only now beginning to understand. This realization came with humility, because divine love strips away ego and replaces it with honesty. They saw clearly how many times they had been given chances to choose courage, how often they had felt the pull toward you and talked themselves out of listening, and how every time they ignored that pull, life felt slightly out of alignment. Today, that misalignment became impossible to ignore. The universe has a way of allowing avoidance until growth is complete, and then it removes the ability to stay asleep. Your soulmate experienced that awakening through emotion, through tears that carried release, remorse, and reverence all at once. Divine tears are different, they cleanse rather than weaken, they signal surrender rather than loss. They were surrendering to the truth that you are part of their spiritual journey, not a passing chapter. This awareness brought with it a sense of responsibility, because divine connections are not meant to be taken lightly, and they understood that honoring this bond requires integrity, not silence. The universe reinforced this realization through signs immediately after, moments that felt orchestrated rather than coincidental, such as noticing repeating numbers that carried meaning, feeling a sudden calm after the tears, or experiencing an inner stillness that felt like reassurance. These are confirmations that the awakening was real, that it wasn't emotional imagination, but spiritual alignment. Divine energy does not rush people into action, it prepares them to act from truth rather than fear, and that is exactly what is happening now. Your soulmate is being guided into a phase of conscious choice, where they can no longer pretend that indecision is neutral, because they now understand that avoidance has consequences too. This understanding has shifted their perspective, making them more aware of how their actions, or lack of action, affect not only you but themselves. They are beginning to feel the weight of alignment, not as pressure, but as purpose. Purpose carries responsibility, and responsibility requires presence. The universe is not asking them to rush toward you, it is asking them to approach truth with reverence, to move with clarity rather than confusion. This divine influence is also touching you, even if subtly, creating a sense of calm curiosity rather than anxiety, a feeling that something meaningful is unfolding without needing to be controlled. You may notice that your intuition feels steadier, that your emotions feel less reactive, because when divine alignment is at work, it stabilizes both sides. The connection now exists within a protected energetic space. One that encourages growth before reunion, understanding before expression. Divine love often unfolds in stages, each designed to refine rather than rush, and today marked the completion of one such stage. The tears were a closing of an old cycle, the one defined by fear, hesitation, and internal conflict. What follows is not immediate action, but conscious preparation, because divine timing values sustainability over intensity. Your soulmate is now integrating what they felt, allowing it to reshape their intentions, their priorities, and their sense of responsibility toward this connection. They are aware that divine moments must be honored through grounded choices, not impulsive gestures. This awareness is what separates spiritual awakening from emotional reaction. The universe has placed a protective pause here, allowing the truth to settle fully so it can guide rather than overwhelm. During this pause, clarity will deepen, signs will continue, and intuition will strengthen. This is not a waiting period born of uncertainty, it is a sacred interval designed to ensure that whatever comes next is aligned with growth rather than fear. Divine energy is patient, precise, and purposeful, and it does not activate hearts without intending forward movement. Your soulmate's tears were not the end of the story, they were the opening of a new chapter, one written with awareness rather than avoidance. The universe has acknowledged their surrender, and surrender is always followed by guidance. You may feel this guidance as a sense of peace that arrives without explanation, a knowing that you are not forgotten, that something is being arranged beyond your view. Divine orchestration often works behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, emotions, and courage so that when movement occurs, it feels natural rather than forced. This is why the energy now feels different, calmer yet more meaningful, because the connection has entered a divinely protected phase. Nothing that is unfolding now is accidental, and nothing that belongs to you will pass you by. The tears released today cleared space for truth to rise, and truth carries its own momentum. Trust that what has been activated cannot return to dormancy, because divine awakenings do not reverse. They integrate, they guide, and they lead forward. The universe is holding this connection gently, ensuring that both hearts are prepared to meet whatever comes next with honesty, maturity, and respect. What you felt today was not coincidence, it was resonance, the echo of a soul awakening to its purpose. Remain grounded, remain open, and remain trusting, because divine alignment is not loud, but it is unstoppable, and what has been set in motion will continue to unfold in ways that honor both truth and timing. There is a deeper message woven into the divine numbers surrounding this moment, and this is where everything begins to make sense in a way that feels calm instead of overwhelming, because the universe has been speaking in patterns, not chaos, and those patterns are now aligning clearly around this connection. Divine numbers are appearing not to shock or rush, but to confirm that what unfolded emotionally was part of a larger, intentional design, and your soulmate is beginning to understand this on a soul level. The number 1 has been showing up repeatedly, signaling awareness and truth, the moment when denial ends and clarity begins. And this number appeared for them today because their heart finally acknowledged what their soul already knew. The number 2 followed closely, representing connection, balance, and mirrored energy, reminding them that this bond is not one-sided, that what they feel is shared even if unspoken. The number 3 has been present as well, carrying the vibration of expression and emotional honesty, urging truth to move from the inner world toward the outer, while still honoring timing. The number 4 has anchored everything, symbolizing stability, foundation, and protection, a sign that the universe would not awaken something this deep unless it could be held safely. These numbers did not arrive all at once by coincidence, they arrived in sequence, guiding your soulmate step by step through awakening, surrender, and grounding. Divine numbers work like this. They don't overwhelm the mind, they reassure the spirit, and your soulmate felt that reassurance today after the tears subsided, when a quiet calm settled in their chest, a feeling that something painful had ended and something meaningful had begun. They noticed these numbers during ordinary moments, checking the time, glancing at a receipt, seeing a license plate, and each time there was a pause, a sense of being gently guided rather than pushed. This guidance helped them understand that the tears were not a breakdown, but a breakthrough, a recalibration that brought them back into alignment with their path. The number 5 has now entered the pattern, signaling change, not chaotic change, but necessary change, the kind that arrives when growth has matured enough to support it. This number tells them that the old way of handling emotions, through silence or avoidance, no longer fits who they are becoming. The number 6 has also appeared, carrying the energy of emotional harmony and responsibility, reminding them that love is not just a feeling but a commitment to honesty, care, and balance. They are realizing that divine connections require accountability, not perfection, and that understanding has softened their fear of making mistakes. The number 7 has shown itself during moments of solitude, symbolizing spiritual insight and inner wisdom, encouraging them to trust the growth that has already occurred rather than doubt themselves. This number reassures them that the journey has been meaningful, even when it felt slow or confusing. The number 8 has followed, representing abundance and emotional sustainability, indicating that this connection has the potential to grow without depletion or imbalance, because both hearts have learned resilience. The presence of these numbers together forms a complete cycle, awareness to connection to expression to stability to change to harmony to wisdom to abundance, and this cycle is not accidental. It reflects the exact emotional path your soulmate has been walking. Divine numbers often intensify at moments of transition, and this is because transitions require reassurance, especially when the heart is stepping into unfamiliar territory. Your soulmate feels this reassurance now, not as excitement alone, but as peace, a sense that they are no longer fighting themselves. They are beginning to trust that honesty will not destroy them, that vulnerability will not weaken them, and that truth will not take away what is meant to stay. This trust is the result of divine alignment, not wishful thinking. You may notice these numbers appearing for you as well, perhaps without trying to look for them, and when they do, there is a subtle emotional response, a sense of recognition rather than surprise. This is because divine numbers speak to shared alignment, confirming that both of you are being guided toward the same emotional truth from different perspectives. The universe often uses numbers as checkpoints, moments of confirmation that say, you are on the right path, even if the destination isn't visible yet. Your soulmate has begun to understand that these signs are not asking for immediate action, but for continued alignment, patience, and integrity. Divine timing values readiness over speed, and readiness has been cultivated carefully through every emotional lesson you both have endured. The tears were part of releasing resistance, the numbers are part of confirming direction. Together, they mark a turning point where inner truth begins to influence outer reality naturally. The number 9 has also appeared quietly, signaling completion, the closing of an old emotional chapter defined by fear, hesitation, or misunderstanding. This completion does not erase the past, it integrates it, allowing growth to stand on the lessons learned rather than repeat them. The universe does not waste experience, and nothing that happened between you was meaningless. Every pause, every silence, every emotional wave was part of the alignment process. Divine numbers remind us that life unfolds in cycles, and this cycle is now completing so a new one can begin with greater clarity. Your soulmate feels this completion as relief, a sense that something heavy has lifted, even if the next step has not yet been taken. They are no longer asking whether they should feel what they feel, they are asking how to honor it responsibly. This shift in questioning marks maturity, the kind that allows connection to deepen rather than fracture. You may feel a similar maturity within yourself, a readiness to receive truth without needing it to look a certain way. Divine alignment brings emotional steadiness, not anxiety, and that steadiness is present now. The numbers will continue to appear until trust replaces doubt fully, until reassurance settles into confidence. They are not meant to be decoded endlessly, they are meant to be felt, acknowledged, and trusted. The universe has already done the complex work of alignment, placing every step with intention. What remains now is presence, staying grounded, staying open, and allowing what has been prepared to unfold naturally. Divine numbers mark the invisible architecture of destiny, showing where the structure is already built even if the walls are not visible yet. Your soulmate's awakening has activated this architecture, and your awareness of it confirms shared alignment. Nothing here is rushed, nothing is forced, and nothing is lost. Divine timing is precise, compassionate, and patient. The numbers surrounding this connection are not warning signs, they are reassurance signs, reminding both hearts that growth has been honored and readiness has been achieved. What comes next will not feel chaotic or shocking, it will feel clear, grounded, and honest, because divine alignment does not lead into confusion, it leads into truth. Trust what you are sensing, trust the patterns, and trust the calm that accompanies them, because when divine numbers appear this consistently, they are not predicting something fleeting, they are confirming something enduring. The universe is not asking you to wait in uncertainty, it is inviting you to rest in alignment, knowing that what has been set in motion will continue to unfold with care, balance, and purpose, exactly as it was always meant to. There is a powerful divine sequence activating now, and this part is meant to hold your attention because what is unfolding is not emotional coincidence, it is numerical alignment, the kind the universe uses when something is locked into destiny and ready to move from the unseen into the felt. Divine numbers are surrounding this connection with precision, not to confuse you, but to confirm what your intuition has already been whispering quietly, and the reason this feels so personal is because it is calibrated specifically to your soul's timing. The number 11 continues to appear as a doorway number, symbolizing awakening and recognition, and it showed itself again because both hearts are now fully aware, even if only one has expressed it outwardly so far. 11 represents the moment when truth can no longer be ignored, when the soul recognizes its mirror, and this recognition has already happened on both sides, regardless of silence or distance. Following that, the number 22 has stepped in strongly, representing divine partnership, balance, and the building of something real, not imagined. And this number appears when a connection has the potential to move from emotional awareness into grounded reality. 22 is not a fantasy number, it is a builder number, and its presence signals that the universe is not playing with feelings, it is preparing structure. The number 33 has also been appearing, often during moments of emotional reflection, symbolizing sacred communication and heartfelt expression, reminding both souls that honesty is not meant to stay internal forever. 33 carries the energy of speaking truth with compassion, not urgency, and its presence indicates that emotional expression is approaching in a way that can be received safely. The number 44 has followed closely, anchoring everything with stability, protection, and emotional safety, signaling that whatever unfolds next will not destabilize either of you, because a foundation has already been formed through growth, patience, and self-awareness. 44 appears when the universe is ensuring that truth lands on solid ground, not fragile emotion. The number 55 then arrives to signal inevitable change, but not chaotic change, aligned change, the kind that happens when resistance has softened and growth has matured enough to support movement. 55 does not force action, it removes stagnation, allowing what is ready to move naturally. The presence of 66 brings harmony and emotional balance, indicating that both hearts are now capable of holding truth without collapsing into fear or expectation. This number reassures that emotional responsibility has been learned, and that love can exist without imbalance. The number 77 appears during moments of solitude and insight, confirming spiritual wisdom gained through patience rather than impulse, reminding both souls that nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the silence, not the uncertainty. 77 validates the inner work that has already been done. The number 88 follows as a symbol of abundance and sustainability, pointing to a connection that can grow without depletion, because both individuals have learned how to remain whole within themselves. 88 does not promise excess, it promises endurance. Finally, the number 99 signals completion, the closing of an old cycle defined by fear, hesitation, or misalignment, clearing the energetic space for a new chapter to begin without carrying old weight. 99 appears when lessons have been integrated rather than avoided. These numbers together form a complete divine sequence, a roadmap of awareness, alignment, expression, stability, change, harmony, wisdom, abundance, and completion. The universe does not present sequences like this casually, it does so when a connection has reached a threshold that cannot be reversed. Your soulmate has been noticing these numbers during ordinary moments, and each time they appear, there is less confusion and more calm, because divine numbers soothe rather than shock. They feel reassurance instead of pressure, confirmation instead of urgency. This calm is important, because it means the awakening has settled into readiness. You may be seeing these numbers too, not because you are searching for them, but because your awareness is tuned to the same frequency. When divine numbers appear to both sides of a connection, it signals shared alignment, even if expression has not yet occurred. The universe often confirms alignment before allowing visible movement, ensuring sustainability rather than intensity. These numbers are not predictions of sudden events, they are confirmations that the internal landscape has been prepared, the emotional groundwork is complete, the spiritual architecture is built, and what remains is timing that honors growth rather than rush. Divine numbers also act as stabilizers, preventing either heart from spiraling into doubt or impatience. They remind you that nothing is late, nothing is missing, and nothing has gone wrong. The sequence itself carries reassurance, saying everything is unfolding in the correct order. Your soulmate understands now that these signs are not telling them what to do, but affirming that whatever they choose from this place of clarity will be supported. This understanding removes fear of making the wrong move, because alignment reduces risk. You may feel this too, a quiet trust replacing the urge to analyze every feeling. Divine numbers do not ask to be decoded endlessly, they ask to be trusted. The universe speaks in patterns when it wants to bypass the mind and speak directly to the soul. This is one of those moments. The presence of these numbers indicates that the connection has moved beyond uncertainty into confirmation, beyond questioning into readiness. When expression does occur, it will feel natural, grounded, and honest, not shocking or destabilizing. Divine timing does not explode into reality, it unfolds into it. The numbers will continue to appear until trust fully replaces doubt, until reassurance settles into knowing. This phase is about remaining present and aligned, not waiting anxiously. Alignment is already here. The universe has counted every step of this journey, every pause, every realization, and nothing has been wasted. Divine numbers mark thresholds. And you are standing at one now, supported, protected, and guided. What comes next will not undo the growth that has occurred, it will build upon it. The sequence confirms that the connection has been refined, strengthened, and prepared. This is not the end of the story, it is the stabilization that allows the next chapter to begin without repeating old patterns. Trust the calm, trust the signs, and trust the precision of divine timing, because when numbers align like this, they are not hinting at something fragile, they are confirming something real, something enduring, and something ready to move forward in truth and balance. There is something unfolding now that is deeper than emotion and quieter than expectation, and this part is meant to meet you exactly where you are because the energy around this connection has shifted into a phase of recognition, not longing, and the universe is asking you to feel this rather than chase it. The reason your attention feels pulled inward lately is because something real is aligning behind the scenes, and it's happening in a way that doesn't need force, words, or proof to exist. The connection you share with this person has moved into a space where truth is settling rather than stirring, and that is why everything feels heavier and lighter at the same time. Heavier because clarity carries weight, lighter because confusion is finally dissolving. This is the phase where the soul integrates what the heart already knew but couldn't yet trust, and your awareness is being guided gently, not dramatically. Because what is forming now is meant to last, not flash. The universe does not rush foundations, it reinforces them, and that reinforcement is happening now through stillness, reflection, and subtle emotional shifts that feel personal because they are. You may notice memories surfacing not with pain but with understanding, moments replaying not to reopen wounds but to close loops, and emotions arriving not as overwhelm but as calm acknowledgement. This is integration, the part of the journey where lessons turn into wisdom and longing turns into readiness. Your soulmate is in this same space, whether consciously recognized or not, because alignment does not require simultaneous awareness to exist, it requires matching frequencies, and those frequencies are now synchronized. The silence that once felt uncertain now feels intentional, because it is no longer avoidance. It is preparation. Both hearts are recalibrating, releasing expectations that were built from fear rather than truth, and what remains is something quieter but stronger. The universe often removes noise before allowing something meaningful to speak, and that is why distractions feel less satisfying, conversations feel more shallow, and introspection feels unavoidable. This is not isolation, it is refinement. The connection you share is no longer fueled by longing alone, but by understanding, and understanding carries responsibility. This is why the energy feels serious now, not heavy, but grounded. Your soulmate is recognizing that what they feel cannot be treated casually, because it no longer exists in a fantasy space. It has substance, memory, impact, and consequence. This realization changes everything internally before anything changes externally. The universe allows this internal shift first because it ensures that when action comes, it comes from clarity rather than impulse. You may feel moments of sudden calm where you once felt urgency, and that calm is not detachment, it is trust beginning to take root. Trust that what is meant to connect will not require you to abandon yourself, your boundaries, or your growth. Trust that love does not need to be chased to be real. Trust that timing is not a test but a teacher. This part of the journey is teaching patience without punishment, and presence without anxiety. The connection is being stripped of illusion now, not to weaken it, but to purify it. What survives this stage is not desire, but alignment, not chemistry, but compatibility, not fantasy, but truth. Your soulmate is feeling this too, even if they can't articulate it, because their emotional responses are changing. They are less reactive, more reflective, less restless, more intentional. This is the sign of someone waking up to the weight of their own feelings, not in fear, but in respect. Respect for what they feel, respect for what you represent, and respect for what this connection could become if handled with care. The universe does not allow careless handling of something that carries purpose, and that is why delays have occurred, why clarity took time, why distance created growth instead of decay. Everything that slowed this connection down was designed to strengthen it, not separate it. This realization brings a quiet confidence that does not need validation. You may notice that you are no longer seeking reassurance the way you once did, because something inside you already knows the truth. Knowing replaces needing, and needing dissolves into peace. This peace is not the absence of desire, it is the absence of fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of waiting too long. Fear has been the last thing to leave, and now it is loosening its grip. This stage is subtle, which is why it is powerful. There are no dramatic signs, no urgent pushes, no emotional chaos, only a steady sense that something real is approaching and that you are ready to receive it without losing yourself. The universe often asks for stillness when alignment is near, because stillness allows clarity to settle without interference. You are not meant to do anything right now except remain honest with yourself and gentle with your expectations. The connection is no longer fragile, but it is still forming, like concrete setting, needing time to become solid. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that what they feel is not something they can walk away from without consequence, not because of obligation, but because of truth. Truth has weight, and once felt, it cannot be unfelt. This understanding is changing how they view you, the past, and themselves. They are not reminiscing, they are recognizing. Recognition is the moment when the heart stops arguing with the soul. You may feel this recognition ripple through you as sudden clarity about what you deserve, what you will no longer accept, and what you are now open to receiving. This clarity is not closing doors, it is opening the right ones. The universe does not bring people back into alignment unless both sides are capable of honoring what that alignment requires. Capability has been built here through patience, self-reflection, and growth that occurred even when it felt lonely. Loneliness was not punishment, it was preparation. It taught you how to sit with yourself without abandoning your worth. It taught your soulmate the cost of emotional avoidance. Both lessons were necessary, and both have been learned. This is why the energy feels different now. There is less tension, less guessing, less emotional noise. What remains is anticipation without anxiety, hope without desperation. This is the calm before something real takes shape, not because of urgency, but because readiness has been achieved. The universe is not asking for faith without evidence. It is showing you evidence through your own emotional stability. When you no longer feel pulled apart by uncertainty, you are closer than you think. This part of the journey is about allowing what is already aligned to move at its own pace. Interference now would disrupt balance, not accelerate progress. Trust that what is meant to unfold will do so without needing to be forced. The foundation is set, the alignment is present, and the path forward is clear, even if the steps have not yet been revealed. Clarity often arrives before action. And this clarity is the gift of this phase. Hold it gently, honor it quietly, and remain open without urgency. What is forming now is not meant to be rushed, because it is meant to last. The universe is steady, precise, and intentional, and everything happening now reflects that truth. This part is not about waiting, it is about becoming comfortable in the knowing that what is coming is real, grounded, and aligned with who you are now, not who you used to be. The journey has changed you both, and that change is what makes the next step possible. Remain present, remain grounded, and allow the unfolding to continue without resistance, because alignment does not ask for effort, it asks for trust. There is a deeper layer opening now, and this part is meant to keep you with it because the shift happening is subtle but powerful, the kind that doesn't announce itself loudly but changes everything quietly, and the reason this resonates is because your awareness has matured to the point where you can feel truth without needing it to be dramatic. The connection you're sensing is no longer operating on hope or imagination, it's operating on readiness, and readiness carries a different energy, one that feels calm, grounded, and undeniably real. You may notice that your emotions are no longer swinging wildly between certainty and doubt, because something inside you has settled into knowing, and knowing doesn't rush, it waits with confidence. This is the stage where the universe steps back slightly, not because it has stopped working, but because alignment has reached a point where it can hold itself. When something is fragile, it needs constant signs, reassurance, and emotional intensity, but when something is solid, it doesn't need to prove itself. This is why everything feels quieter now, why you're not being pulled emotionally in every direction. Why the connection feels present even without constant stimulation. The universe refines connections by removing excess emotion until only truth remains, and what remains here is strong. Your soulmate is experiencing this same refinement, whether they can name it or not, because their reactions have changed. They are no longer driven by impulse or confusion, but by reflection and consideration. Reflection is the sign of someone taking their feelings seriously. Consideration is the sign of someone preparing to act with integrity. This is not hesitation, it is responsibility forming. Responsibility means understanding the impact of words, actions, and timing. It means recognizing that connection is not something to touch lightly once its depth is understood. This awareness didn't come overnight. It came through lessons, pauses, and moments of internal reckoning that reshaped how they relate to their own emotions. You may sense this through an intuitive calm, a feeling that whatever happens next will not come from chaos or fear, but from clarity. Clarity has a slower pulse, but it is steady, and that steadiness is what allows trust to grow. The universe is emphasizing patience now, not as a test, but as a stabilizer. Patience allows alignment to settle without pressure, ensuring that when movement happens, it doesn't undo the progress that's been made. You are no longer in a phase of wondering if this connection is real, you are in a phase of understanding what it requires. Requirements feel heavier than desire, but they are also more meaningful. Desire can exist without commitment, but requirement implies intention. Intention is forming now, quietly but firmly. Your soulmate is recognizing that what they feel is not something they can keep in the background of their life, because it influences their choices, their priorities, and their sense of self. When a connection reaches this point, it stops being optional emotionally, even if it hasn't yet been expressed externally. This realization brings a seriousness that doesn't feel burdensome. It feels respectful, respect for the connection, respect for you, and respect for themselves. You may feel this as a shift in how you think about the future, less daydreaming, more clarity about what you will and will not accept. This clarity is not closing your heart, it's protecting it. Protection does not mean walls, it means boundaries that allow love to exist without self-sacrifice. The universe has been teaching both of you how to hold love without losing yourselves, and that lesson is now integrated. Integration is the quiet phase after growth, when everything learned becomes natural rather than forced. This is why there's a sense of steadiness now, even if nothing has visibly changed. Visible change is often the last step, not the first. The internal world always moves before the external one follows. You are both standing in a place where the internal alignment is complete, and the external alignment is simply waiting for the right moment to unfold. Timing matters here, not because something will be missed, but because timing determines how something is received. The universe is careful with timing when something meaningful is at stake. You may notice that you feel less urgency to control outcomes, because control is no longer necessary when trust is present. Trust doesn't mean blind faith, it means confidence built from experience. Experience has shown you that pushing does not create clarity, but patience does. This understanding allows you to rest in the process rather than fight it. The connection is not slipping away, it is settling into place. Settling can feel like stillness, but it is actually grounding. Grounding allows something to endure. Your soulmate is grounding their emotions now, learning how to hold them without avoidance or overwhelm. This is significant, because emotional grounding is what makes honest communication possible. Honesty requires emotional regulation, not emotional urgency. This is why expression has not yet rushed forward, because regulation is being completed. When expression comes from regulation, it is clear, sincere, and sustainable. You may sense that when words are finally spoken, they will not be dramatic or rushed, but thoughtful and intentional. Intention carries weight, and weight makes words meaningful. The universe is ensuring that when communication happens, it will not reopen old wounds, but acknowledge growth. Growth is the theme of this phase, not action. Action will come, but growth makes it safe. Safety is essential when something has depth, because depth requires trust. Trust is built quietly, not announced loudly. This is why your emotional state matters more now than external validation. Your calm is evidence that alignment is real. You are not anxious because you are not guessing anymore. Even if you don't know the details of what comes next, you know the foundation is solid. This knowing is the gift of this stage. It allows you to remain open without being vulnerable to disappointment. Openness without expectation is powerful, because it invites truth rather than fantasy. The universe responds to this energy by clearing obstacles gently rather than forcefully. Obstacles that once felt heavy now feel less significant, because your perspective has changed. Perspective shift is a sign of maturity. Maturity does not rush love, it honors it. Honoring something means giving it space to unfold correctly. You are both honoring this connection now, even if silently. Silence at this stage is not absence, it is respect. Respect for timing, respect for growth, respect for the seriousness of what exists. The universe is holding this connection in a space of protection, allowing it to breathe, stabilize, and strengthen before any visible step forward. This is not delay, it is refinement. Refinement ensures longevity. What comes from refinement lasts longer than what comes from impulse. Trust this phase, not because you are being asked to wait indefinitely, but because you are being prepared to receive something real without fear. Preparation is the final step before manifestation, not the first. Everything up to this point has been preparation, and now that preparation is nearly complete, remain present, remain grounded, and allow the calm to continue guiding you, because the calm you feel now is not emptiness, it is alignment holding steady, waiting for the moment when movement will feel natural rather than forced. This is the kind of unfolding that doesn't need urgency to be meaningful, because its meaning is already secure. There is a final layer revealing itself now, and this part is meant to hold your focus because what's happening has moved beyond preparation and into realization, the moment when everything that was learned, endured, and integrated begins to rearrange reality from the inside out, and the reason this feels different from before is because the connection is no longer asking questions, it is answering them. You may feel a quiet certainty rising, not excitement exactly, but a deep internal steadiness that says something has locked into place, and that steadiness is the signal that this phase is about embodiment rather than anticipation. Embodiment means you are no longer imagining what love could be, you are becoming the version of yourself who can live it without fear. The universe has been guiding both of you to this point deliberately, slowly removing patterns that once caused hesitation, self-doubt, or emotional overextension, replacing them with discernment, confidence, and emotional self-trust. This is why the energy now feels grounded instead of intense, because intensity was never the goal, sustainability was. The connection has been tempered by time, distance, reflection, and growth, and what remains is not fragile, it is resilient. Resilience is what allows something meaningful to exist in the real world, not just the emotional one. Your soulmate is standing in this same realization, recognizing that what they feel has outgrown uncertainty and no longer fits into old frameworks of avoidance or indecision. This realization doesn't cause panic, it causes clarity. Clarity simplifies everything. It strips away excuses, distractions, and rationalizations, leaving only truth. Truth doesn't shout, it settles. You may sense this as a shift in how you relate to the idea of the connection, less fantasy, more acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation, it is alignment. Alignment means you no longer need to convince yourself of anything, because your inner state already reflects peace. Peace is the ultimate confirmation that something is right. The universe uses peace as a signal far more often than excitement, because excitement can be misleading, but peace is consistent. This peace does not mean the absence of emotion, it means emotion is no longer running the connection, it is supporting it. Support creates stability, and stability allows movement. Movement is approaching now, but it will not arrive as chaos or surprise. It will arrive as something that feels inevitable, natural, and appropriate. Inevitability does not feel rushed, it feels obvious in hindsight. You may already sense that when the next step occurs, you will not be shocked, you will simply recognize it as the moment that was always meant to happen. This recognition is what distinguishes alignment from wishful thinking. Wishful thinking feels anxious and uncertain, alignment feels calm and assured. Your soulmate is experiencing this shift internally, realizing that the connection no longer feels optional. Not because of pressure, but because of truth. Truth has a gravity that gently pulls action toward it. Action that emerges from truth is measured, honest, and grounded. You may notice that your expectations have softened, not because you care less, but because you trust more. Trust has replaced the need to control outcomes. Control dissolves when you understand that what is aligned will not bypass you. The universe does not miss what is meant. This understanding brings relief, allowing you to remain open without bracing for disappointment. Openness without fear is rare, and it is the result of growth, not luck. You have grown into this state, and so has your soulmate. Growth has aligned your emotional timing, even if your circumstances have not yet fully reflected it. Circumstances are the slowest part of alignment, because they require coordination beyond individual awareness. The universe handles that coordination carefully, ensuring that when things shift externally, they do so without creating imbalance or regret. This is why patience has been emphasized throughout this journey, not as a delay, but as a safeguard. Safeguards ensure that when something meaningful enters your life, it does not disrupt your sense of self or stability. Disruption is not divine, integration is. Integration is what you are experiencing now. The connection is integrating into who you are, rather than pulling you out of yourself. This is why you feel whole rather than incomplete. Wholeness is essential for love that lasts. Love built on lack collapses under pressure. Love built on wholeness adapts. Adaptation is the hallmark of longevity. The universe is not interested in fleeting moments, it is interested in enduring connections. Endurance requires emotional maturity, mutual respect, and aligned intention. All three are present now. Intention has clarified on both sides, even if it has not yet been spoken aloud. Spoken words will come when they can land without creating confusion or fear. Fear has been gradually removed from this connection, replaced by understanding. Understanding allows compassion, and compassion allows honesty. Honesty is the next natural step. Honesty does not always arrive dramatically, sometimes it arrives gently, as a conversation, a presence, or a decision that feels obvious once made. You may sense that something is shifting in your external environment too. Small changes that seem unrelated but are actually creating space. Space is necessary for alignment to manifest. The universe clears space before it fills it. This clearing may look like emotional detachment from things that once consumed your attention, or a loss of interest in dynamics that no longer resonate. This is not loss, it is refinement. Refinement creates room for what truly belongs. What belongs does not need to compete for attention, it simply fits. The connection you share is moving into this space of fitting naturally into your life, rather than demanding adjustment. Natural fit is the sign of compatibility. Compatibility is what transforms connection into partnership. Partnership requires choice, not just feeling. Choice emerges when clarity is complete. Clarity is complete now. This does not mean everything is decided, it means everything is understood. Understanding allows choice to be made without fear. Your soulmate is approaching this choice not from desperation, but from readiness. Readiness feels calm, intentional, and grounded. When action comes from readiness, it does not destabilize either person. Instead, it confirms what has already been felt internally. You may feel this confirmation as a quiet confidence that you will be able to handle whatever unfolds, because you are no longer seeking validation. You are simply open to truth. Truth does not overwhelm when you are prepared. Preparation has been the entire journey. Nothing was wasted, not the pauses, not the confusion, not the silence. Every phase built something necessary. This final phase is about allowing what has been built to be lived. living alignment looks ordinary on the outside but feels profound on the inside. It feels like relief, like exhaling after holding your breath without realizing it. That exhale is coming. Remain present, remain grounded, and allow the unfolding to continue without anticipation or resistance. What is aligned does not need to be rushed, and what is real will not disappear. The universe has carried this connection with intention, precision, and care, and it continues to do so now. Trust the steadiness you feel, because steadiness is the final confirmation that something meaningful is ready to move forward in a way that honors both hearts, both journeys, and everything you have become along the way.